Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Oops. Can you tell we had a week off? I forgot to add us to the screen in the background. Good morning, everybody. What's up?
Good morning. You know what? It's okay. We're coming to the end of of H2, so it's just a little whatever.
Yeah.
Insert whatever excuse.
Yeah, insert all the above. Happy Monday. Good morning. Good to see you too. Long time no see. How we doing? How we feeling this Monday morning, Brandy?
Well, I got a deep tissue massage yesterday and I thought I would feel better today. And I literally cannot bend over. I went to lean over to pet my cat this morning and I was like, oh, I don't know if we can do that right now.
Feels
You're gonna have to jump up here, Mia.
Feels so bad, Brandy.
I know. I'm sure you're the world's smallest violin.
Yeah, I can't drink enough well and good morning coffee this morning.
Hey, there we go.
I did a lot of manual labor over the weekend, 24 hours, 2 12-hour days. So,
jeez.
Yeah, I'm hurting, but happy
you need
Monday.
a massage.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Need a massage.
The one person in this trio that needed a massage, I'm sure, didn't get it. So, not that you saying you didn't need one, Brandy, but
yeah,
12
I
hours
did not
manual
do
labor. I would be in an ice bath right now, trying to
Yes, I did not do that. So
yeah. I love it.
How about you, Will?
Just living the Colorado dream here. I've been camping and hiking and paddleboarding and trying to get as much vitamin D and sunshine as I can. So it's been lovely. After last year, I think I've said this on the show or a couple other times on Slick Talk or whatever, but last year I was on the road every other week or so on average. It was home for 6 days, 3 days, whatever, and then you're on to the next conference or next event. And so this year I've been really enjoying just staying put, and it's been quite lovely.
Lovely. It's nice to be in your own setting and enjoy, all the things you pay for.
Yes. Yeah. I was I'm really getting my full usage of rent this month. So
nice.
Not going to complain. But no, it's been great and a lot of fun. And of course, obviously working and trying to obviously keep doing the things. So, but we got that week off for Memorial Day weekend. So I hope you guys got to enjoy an extra extended weekend for this amazing, beautiful country that we get to live in. And then, of course, before we get to the line items of topics today, I want to give a couple shout outs and plugs. So first things first is shout out to our Good Morning Hospitality EU crew who's been doing some really cool specials. I just want to plug them, from the content standpoint, because we all cover these news, but Leo has been getting really creative, and Sarah too has been getting really creative on how they continue to evolve the conversation within the EU landscape and continue to grow their voices in the space. And Leo and Dale Smith with Host and Stay did a really good European landscape report episode. That's 10 minutes. I listened to it with my coffee. It was awesome. And so just want to give them a plug. And then, of course, one more great plug to our GMH hotel crew. We have a birthday this week with Steve Turk. So happy birthday to Steve. And then also congratulations to Steve Turk, Ben Wolf, and the team that are creating Baya, which is a new glamping resort development happening just outside of Miami. And the mock-ups and the renderings look incredible. So I'm really excited about this and to see a new development. So Steve's whole career has been quite fun to watch, from podcast host to creating all this other stuff. And he's really crushing it. So yeah, just big shout out to the team at GMH.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. I always love to see fun new projects popping up in Miami. And this is something that doesn't, it's not just another hotel on the Miami Beach Strip or something like that, or, so something unique, I think, is always fun and exciting.
Happy birthday, Turk.
Yeah,
yes.
Happy birthday. And then next week is Sarah Dandish's birthday. So we got plenty of birthdays to celebrate. But without further ado, you guys ready to jump into this week's topics?
Let's do it.
Well, Brandy, I think there's no other way to start other than with the
This
elephant
abrupt
in the room.
segue.
Yeah.
You
Uh,
you definitely deserved the massage as well. So.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like from the emotional beating. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, a lot of people have seen the news that Roami, we are going through corporate restructuring, and so we are not going out of business, and this actually is part of a bigger kind of thing that's happening in the company, which is that we are getting acquired. And so we can't go into the details of that yet. We'll be able to make an announcement later this summer, but it's all really exciting. And, these news headlines grab like a public filing in court and then they make a, news article out of it, but it is not doom and gloom. The company is still continuing on. And actually, in the way that we're doing things, it's how, all the most employees are going to keep their jobs. We're going to keep the most buildings. We're going to continue to serve guests. So things can look scary on the outside, but we're really excited. And later this summer, we'll be able to have a bigger announcement and kind of like close the loop on that.
So,
yeah, if only I knew there was a news show that you could announce this stuff on. It's kind of crazy.
I know. It's crazy.
So you're saying that the news only told half the story?
Yeah, and which is fair. I mean, I'm just now saying the other half. And so, and it's there's a lot of attention, I think, on, when companies file these kinds of things because it's public record and it becomes part of the conversation. But we are still business as usual. We're still, booking guests, taking care of guests, still employing people, and they'll be able to continue being part of the company as we make the transition.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, the story came out and then you weren't able to share, but I'm curious, how many messages did you get around this? How much concern, or was it pretty like, hey, like, okay, how are things going? Are you doing good? What can we do? Like, what was the kind of outreach that you got?
I would actually say I was really, I felt very like supported from a professional, like friend situation. I had a lot of people reach out and, offer their just like thoughts, support, like, whatever's going on, like, just kind of like acknowledgement.
Mhm.
And so that I really appreciated. I think, people, we're all running businesses and sometimes you have to make, tough decisions. And but yeah, I think, I've heard tell that there's some spicy negative comments out there on the internet, but I don't read the comments. And the comments that are important to me are the ones, people reaching out and and I appreciate that support.
100%. Well, for all the spicy comments out there, now you got the full story. Originally you had half before you decided to post something, so now you have the full. Maybe you can go delete a comment or two, who knows, but
and or keep it up. You're entitled to your opinions.
Yeah,
and it's
but I just hate
certainly
to look like I had my hand in the cookie jar when I didn't really have it. So hopefully
and we get to do
Anyways.
the something's coming.
Something special. How's
Breaking news,
Romeo
you heard it
taking it?
here.
Oh,
Heard it
well,
here.
Romeo is actually a giant cutout of him is sitting like right over here off camera. So he's excited. TBD about what will happen to the brand. But at the very least, this giant life-size cutout of our Romeo Fox is gonna come with me. So
wherever you may go, I love it. Well, very cool, very exciting. As Paul Manzi says, congratulations to Roami and the team.
Thank you, Paul.
Amazing. All right, next story. Michael, do you want to carry this one through? I know you're excited about this.
Yeah, well, it's a continuation of what we've seen over and over again from the major flags. Hyatt has announced Unscripted, which is an upscale collection brand. So the way I'm reading it is it's largely an affiliation brand. It's a brand for the unbranded and a soft brand within Hyatt, which we've seen kind of this race, this arms race within the flags to just try and grab any cool unflagged property in the world. And this is Hyatt's attempt at at their take. Marriott announced one last week as well that I think our hotel crew covered. So the race is on. I mean, it's the allure of the independent brand is strong with guests, but it's also nice to be able to use your credit card points at those properties, and your credit card points, your Marriott points, your Hyatt points, your whatever. And as a traveler, I think that's what a lot of travelers hope to do. You spend all year spending a lot of money on your credit card, and then you want to take a vacation using your points. And if you're not affiliated, you're usually left out to dry. So I think it's a great move on all fronts. It's a way for Hyatt members to burn points and earn points. But I think most of the flags view these soft brands or these independent properties more as burn locations than earn. You're typically earning your points at city center business trips, and then you're burning them on vacation with your wife, your kids, whatever. So I love it. It's going to be like the next 2 or 3 years at the pace that these flags are going. It's going to be super interesting to see. Like, I mean, already more than 50% of hotels are flagged. I think somebody can fact check me. I would love for somebody to, but the arms race for the rest of like the desirable hotels out there is going to be very fascinating to watch.
It makes me like, I totally understand their like the play behind this, the strategy, but it does make me like kind of sad, because you're seeing, especially for like independent boutique hotels where that's usually where you have a lot of the character, that it's just getting harder and harder for those hotels to exist, unless I feel like the only ones that will be left will be like ultra luxury ones, because how can you compete when you have almost the same product, but you have the backing of Marriott or Hilton?
But that's where this affiliation thing comes into play, like what Trailborn and Marriott did, or even for that matter, what Sonder did, right? It's an affiliation. They didn't buy the brand. You don't. It's not hard branded a Marriott. They have their own standards, and it's essentially become an OTA for the independent properties, and it's an exclusive OTA because Sonder can't now go list on Hyatt or on Hilton or on IHG, but you still have all the other OTAs, and then you pick your flag that maybe aligns most with your traveler type. Sonder's city centers, business travelers, makes total sense. Hyatt, a lot of the properties they announced are destination markets. From what I'm seeing, like Lisbon, Seville, Shanghai, Mexico City, Miami Beach, kind of a leisure blend there. But you're able to you're able to pick the flag that represents your kind of core demographic traveler. And I mean, I think it honestly makes sense for all parties. The challenge is, the devil's in the details on the point systems and the software systems and how much it costs to turn their software on and yada, yada. But I think, it's got to be worth the squeeze. And you guys saw at least 5% of bookings come from Marriott, 5 or 10.
Yeah, it's actually, it's pretty, the OTA component is pretty wild. It's, and I think the hotels are also trying to fight back against the OTAs, and by like creating this amalgamation of their own brands, that's kind of a way to do it.
I remember as a front desk agent when Marriott did that big negotiation with Expedia to get their commissions severely down, basically cut in half. And that was a while ago. And that was like almost a historic move, because no brand had the power to get a deal done with Expedia or Booking or whatever big OTA that was bringing in the most revenue for the hotel or the brand in general. And so for this shift of like the brands now becoming the OTAs is actually quite interesting, because it was like, okay, this was such a big step to get that commission cut. Now they're realizing like, oh, we can just cut you out of the picture in general if we get big enough as a distribution engine, which it's going to be, like Michael said, 3 to 5 years. It's going to be crazy to watch. It's going to be a lot of development. But last week, the hotel crew covered, I believe it's called Series by Marriott, where it's independent. You still have your own standards. You have your own everything. but you get to wear the flag. And again, they covered the same situation where it's like, yeah, the devil's in the details with this, in terms of like, okay, how can Marriott say you can have your own brand standards under their brand? Like there's obviously going to be some, red lines on that and how they let operators actually operate and all the other things. But yeah, it's an interesting time. I think the distribution landscape is the race. We're in the distribution race with points and loyalty and inventory and everything.
The only people that lose are the OTAs, really, because if I sign my hotel up with Hyatt, my Expedia rate goes probably from 18 to 15 or 18 to 13%. So I've already saved 5% on that tranche of reservations. And then I've unlocked a new channel of the Hyatt loyalty, and maybe that's another 10% lift or more. So you've really done your business justice by doing that. It then will come down to the math of what's the license fee or franchise fee or technology fee, or all the different pros and cons there. But it seems really attractive for most hotel owners if they can. It does seem like the OTAs are the big, I won't call them big losers yet, but the trend is not great for OTAs if this continues. So
well, I think that really, like, you have to look at what the OTAs offer, like what's their value. And for a long time they've been, I mean, the commissions are crazy. And that's just been like the accepted standard. And now it's kind of like maybe it's a situation where they were being a bit too greedy and and so naturally, eventually people are going to try to figure out a way to keep that money back, and having always to have parity and all these things. You don't really get to have as much control. So maybe they're kind of getting a little bit of the consequences of that, like, longstanding policy.
Agreed. And to perfectly segue into the next topic, as we saw VRBO, to add some value to their operating members, is trying to create a bigger and more robust promotional suite. So allowing you to market and get better deals and more bookings to your properties, which I think, long overdue, right? I think we've talked a couple times, and this is in a great way of like, it's good to see the OTAs start thinking about like what can they add to the operators instead of just the guests. Every update we see from Airbnb or VRBO usually goes more guest tailored. So it's nice to see that they're looking at operators now. Brandy, any thoughts from your side as you kind of saw this roll out?
Yeah, I love this. And especially because on Expedia, we've been playing with different options that they have and so one thing that Expedia has is like basically Google ads, but for Expedia, right? And so in the first, I think, week, we had over $15,000 in reservations we tested it on a couple of buildings, and then they had given us a credit or something. So it really was, almost no cost to try it out. And so, it's, if VRBO starts having the ability to do these more, kind of traditional digital marketing tools, it's really, really helpful. And there really hasn't been a lot of options on VRBO to promote yourself or offer certain discounts and things like that. So I think that the more they start to mirror what Expedia does, the more success you'll have, especially if you're trying to do something like offset a slow season. It really gives you some more tools also to like A/B test, see which kind of promotions are working in which markets. So yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah. And I think overall it's such an interesting business case study from such a massive entity. I think all of us are used to just going fast all the time, and we break things, and that's what happens. But Expedia, particularly VRBO, had to really slow down before they can speed up. And now that the tech has been kind of revamped entirely behind the scenes, now we're going to start seeing product releases left and right. Hopefully, this is a good sign. But you got to, sometimes in the big businesses, you got to go slow to go fast, and the technical debt that they had built up over the years, and then now integrating in with Expedia and having all of the benefits and perks of Expedia is going to be hopefully a big win for them. They lost a good bit of market share to Airbnb and destination markets over the past couple of years, but I'd imagine they'll start chipping away with that. And Airbnb is over here making decisions again, and not cutting in their hosts for experiences that happen in their own houses. So it's, I think the door is open for VRBO to gain some market share back.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, because this doesn't have to be like a zero-sum game, there isn't going to be one overall winner. I think that VRBO really has an opportunity to position itself as the platform that is, favorable to or not favorable to hosts, but more of a partner to hosts, giving hosts all the tools that they need, and more aware and acknowledging that this is a partnership and not that just I don't know, just a supplier base, basically.
Yeah. No, 100% agreed. Yeah, and I think what you said, Brandy, just to kind of like put a bow on this, at least in my thoughts of the VRBO side is, I think Brandy said this, I can't remember now. But it's more integrating into the Expedia suite. So it's not just a standalone brand. Now they're kind of, like you said, getting more ingrained inside of the bigger group, which is probably important. It still has to keep its individuality, and obviously they're not going to be able to fully integrate because homes and hotels are very different, and the experience and all the other things are very different. But yeah, I think it's a great way to continue to showcase their strength inside the group itself. So
And someone else showcasing some strength is
yeah, let's go.
Wander. Congrats to
Wow.
Wander. $50
Amazing.
million Series B from Tier 1 Fifth Wall. I mean, Fifth Wall is the who's who in prop tech. So, alongside QED, which I'm unfamiliar with them, but I'm sure they're great. And I remember, I think we covered Wander just launch on this show when they had like 5 properties or something. So
it was like
cool
3.
to see. Yeah, cool to see them with a lot of wind behind their sails. The industry needs more of this, which is good. A vote of confidence from a Fifth Wall will lead to vote of confidences from others that are gonna try and copy what they've been successful with. And Wander, I think, is leaning in pretty heavily on the brand side of things. That's more of their lens and angle. Mm-hmm. And as we've discussed earlier on this show, brand is starting to trickle in. I'm fascinated to see which group Costigo is going to sign up with. Is it? I mean, I think they're tied in with Marriott, but will they sign an exclusive with one of the flags at some point? So maybe it does end up being Marriott, but I think that door is wide open now in the short-term rental space, particularly if Wander can add thousands of more homes. It says they have 1,000 homes live now, which is great. That came out of nowhere on my radar, at least. So kudos to that team.
Yeah, especially I'm always impressed when people are able to amass single family home portfolios like that, because it can be so difficult, especially with like permitting and things like that, to really find a home in the right area that's also zoned and like desirable and, all of that stuff. So, finding those people, finding those homes is, I give them a lot of credit. That's quite the scavenger hunt.
100%. Yeah. Starting out with buying and building your own homes to then growing this portfolio. They've done it right. And I've really loved the brand they've built. I think it's a great example out of, we've talked about in the beginning of the episode as we're covering the Roami stuff, is like, having these badge showcases from Vacasa publicly to Sonder publicly, to have a company like Wander, who I'm kind of in the camp of Michael, where I think, the next step for them is to continue to grow and eventually join a distribution loyalty race, whether it's a Marriott or a Hyatt or whatever. Right? Like I could see them, or maybe they even take that playbook and make their own. I don't know. But it's exciting to see, and some good capital investment starting to sprinkle back into the space. So I've been a big fan of Wander since I saw them live, or not live, but launched, and then listened to the founder on Zach Boozy Cruz's podcast. So very, very cool. Very cool brand.
I was thinking, as we've been talking today about like this thought about Marriott just keeps coming back, how like many years ago, we were talking about how the hotel brands are like slow to adapt, like a bit stodgy, set in their ways. And then Marriott has really just, kind of taken a turn and really taken the lead, I think, with all the hotel brands. And now we're talking about Marriott instead of like, oh, this kind of like old man in the corner that's trying to keep up, as in it's one of the groups that is leading the charge, at least on the hotel front. So I don't know. I just thought that's like a really interesting shift in reference, shift in, perception of the company.
And I love it because rarely do you see the 800-pound gorilla be the first mover. So shout out to and kudos to the Marriott team. I know big corporations don't always move fast, and I'm sure internally this stuff hasn't moved fast, but you still are the first mover within the major flags. So well done. Keep setting the trends.
Yeah, we're fans and friends of Marriott Homes and Villas and the whole Marriott team. So really exciting times. Awesome. Great episode. I know we packed a lot into it, but for the listeners, viewers, thank you for tuning in. Also, quick Easter egg, a little surprise for all of our loyalists, for our morning people that keep hearing us talk about Well and Good Morning Coffee. We have a special surprise for you. There's going to be 25 of you who are going to get a special delivery if you pay attention to next week's discount code that's going to give you a free coffee right to your door. So there's going to be 25 of you listeners are going to get free coffee on us next week. Stay tuned for the code. And if you haven't already, go to hospitality.fm and sign up for the newsletter of GMH. So that way you can get that code to your inbox if you forget. So if you have subscribed, you'll get it. If not, I guess good luck next time. And so we'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure to tune in to GMH EU Hotel and, of course, Good Morning Outdoors every Thursday. And shout out to all of our live viewers. We have amazing fans: Steve Turk, Paul Manzi, Tom Goodwin tuning in. I wish we could cover these amazing comments right now. But like always, we'll see you guys on the next one.